Crowder's joined us. I got a comedy special called Trash Daddy, and it is out as we speak. You can see it on YouTube, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. Came out last Thursday.
Dates coming up. Going to the Wilbur Theater in Boston. It's a beautiful theater.
Absolutely.
It also means you're doing pretty good if you're going to the Wilbur Theater.
Yeah, doing all right. I'm not doing, 5-6 shows there or whatever. But
no, but just doing one show.
Doing the one is good, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful there.
Yeah.
And so getting some traction, but Wilbur date was on the calendar before the special dropped.
Yeah.
So it's not because of special.
No. Ideally, the special would help, would add to it. But yeah, no, I've been at it for a while now, making videos on the internet and, doing stand-up and stuff. The stand-up came first, started stand-up in 2010, and then the internet videos came in like 2016. It was just a thing I was trying, and then, one of them took off and it became like a thing. So now I do that forever.
What do you mean? What's your thing?
My thing is these videos called the liberal redneck videos. Yeah. And I was doing that as a bit, just a bit as a comic at the time, like my closing bit. And it was literally just me just saying I would set it up first, but then I would just say a bunch of real liberal shit in a real redneck fashion, and this is like 2013, 14, whatever, and I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it pretty much always worked. People laughed at it because it was just like, oh, that's a funny juxtaposition. That's a silly thing.
Yeah, an angle.
Yeah,
like a truism.
Yeah, right. And then I was like, I'm gonna try to make an internet video series based on that idea or that character, and then I did, and then it became again my whole thing. It blew up, and now that's what it is,
It's hard to figure in advance what's going to work and what's not going to work, or what's going to get traction, or what people want to consume. And sometimes you have ideas about things that you think, oh, this is killer and nobody cares.
Absolutely.
And then there's goofy stuff that just works, and it's a weird sort of why humans are humans, kind of weird.
Yeah. Ace, what unexpected thing of yours worked that they caught on that you didn't expect it to, or you thought it was a one-off? I never asked you this.
I've always been a non. I never had a thing.
Yeah.
Because I always thought. People so when I was young, I would watch comedians and they had a thing.
Yeah.
They had the guy, there was the Ray J. Johnson Jr. guy, and he'd go, you can call me Ray, or you can call me Jay, but you don't have to call me Johnny, And it was it'd be everywhere. But I was like, that guy's thing now, he has to dress in a fedora, and he has to do a thing.
Yeah.
And then later on, when I became sort of in the comedy world, even though I wasn't really getting paid, we would make fun of the guys where he'd go, you're a redneck, and then he'd do a thing, or get her done, or something like that. We go, oh, that's that guy's crutch, or that guy's hook, or something. So I was always anti anything. But to my detriment, by the way, because now I will do rich man, poor man, which is a thing, which I always steered away from until I told you Leno and Seinfeld both said, that's your thing, do your thing. It's a better way to get successful, to get paid and stuff. I just decided I didn't have I was anti-thing because I saw weird examples of it as a kid, and then later on in my older life realized a thing is a good thing.
Yeah, no, I see it both ways. Again, I wouldn't be sitting here, and I would probably still, be back in Knoxville or whatever, if not for my thing. But also, on the other hand, I didn't want to. I don't tour as the liberal redneck or anything. I just go by my name. I've tried to because of what you're talking about, I've tried to not really. I shouldn't say distance myself from it, but just so people know that's that's just a thing that I do. I go, just my name, and that's one of the things that I do because I agree with you and I think about that.
Yeah, when I started in radio, a lot of guys would pick a name. Oh, you're Jinx St. Clair. There's other St. Cloud and St. Clairs and stuff, and then people had fake names.
Oh, wow.
And they did it all the time. Dawson could probably rattle off Dusty Street and stuff like that. I mean, there was Paraquat Kelly and stuff. I mean, everyone just picked a name. Machine
Dusty
Gun
Rhodes,
Kelly, Dusty
Mercy
Rhodes.
Hawks.
Yeah. You had to have, it was like pro wrestling or something. And then
Jack Straw.
I was at the beginning, I was like, I don't want to do a fake name. I want to just use my name because then you get married to this weird name and maybe that's not who you are. So I've always been sort of anti everything, but I'm saying my thing is complaining. So maybe that is
me too.
That is my thing. So you grow up in a place that's a small town.
Very, very,
It's not comedy inducive. I mean, it's not a hotbed of stand-up comedy.
No, I mean, there's no like any kind. There's no real like live performance or anything there. Like my hometown doesn't have any traffic lights or McDonald's or anything. And my dad did run the video store in town, which was a single wide trailer that he put a bunch of tapes in and put wooden letters on the side said Crowder's Video, and that was the town video store.
Really?
Yeah, so I grew up in that. So that was like, that was my intro to just whatever, movies, show business, all that. And then as a teenager, I got into stand-up specifically, like as a fan. But I mean, there was, even when I went to college in what I thought was a city, which was really also just a bigger small town, 45 miles up the road, a place called Cookeville, Tennessee. Even there's no club, no open mics or anything. And so I finally graduated, moved to Knoxville because of the job I got, and they had a club there called Side Splitters, which is now closed. But they had Side Splitters in Knoxville, and that was 2010. And so I was like, well, do it or don't. It's now or never. I wanted to do it for a long time, so then I finally did. I was like 24.
Did you grow up like there's two avenues into stand-up, I think, which is you grow up watching stand-up and loving stand-up.
Yeah.
Or you grow up just being funny all the time, like just sort of on your own, free, just busting balls, screwing around, class clown shit. And then it can also be both.
Right.
But some comedians just watch stand-up comedy and goes, I like stand-up comedy, and they're able to pull it off. Yeah. Others are like funny, and then other people you talk to weren't even that funny. Yeah. Like they just found their way into it.
Yeah, they just got like a cerebral connection to it or something. It's just a skill that they learned to do. But I definitely
they're more actors. I mean, they're more like you can act the part of a stand-up, but there's some people, if you hang around with Jimmy Kimmel not near a microphone or a camera, he's still doing the comedy, always looking for the angle, practical jokes, the whole thing. That's who he is. He now just gets paid to do what he did for free, essentially.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I was definitely a fan, a comedy nerd, really. Like, I was very into it, like from probably 12-ish on. I was watching and loving stuff. I was getting like...
And were you like class clown, or were you being told to shut up by your teachers all the time?
Amongst my friends and stuff, I was like, we were all funny. All these little broken home redneck kids. Everybody was funny, in my opinion. And people used to say, like, you should be a comedian one day. But I wasn't like the class clown. I actually was like the smart kid in my class, which I realize now looking back is like, it's like being the straightest dude at a Cher concert or something, like being the smart guy in that town or at that school. But I thought I was real hot shit at the time.
Because you were smart in a relative way.
Yeah, but I didn't know the relative part.
Yeah.
I just thought I was smarter than everybody. I thought, like, I literally, when I graduated high school in that town, I left genuinely believing I was like Goodwill Hunting. Like, I thought I was I thought I was that level of genius when I was 18.
I had a funny...
And it screwed me up a lot later.
I want to hear about that. I had a funny conversation with my son when he was like 6, or maybe he was 6 or 7 or whatever. But he'd tell me that the two fastest guys in the world are both in his class at, La Cañada Elementary School. Like, what are the chances that the two fastest guys are in, But the point is that's all he knew.
Yeah.
Was his
Right.
first grade class is locking you out of elementary school.
Yeah.
And that's the world will wake you up at some point when you leave.
Right. And when you're from a place that small and that like insulated, there was no frame of reference for any of that. Like it wasn't just that, it was also like I didn't realize how white trash I was. I didn't realize how like poverty stricken my town was and how redneck and trash the whole situation was. I didn't know until I left and went elsewhere and met other people, and then realized looking back, like, oh, that was some winter's bone shit.
But I will say, when you talk to people, usually older people, they'll go, we were poor, but we didn't even know it. We had a good time, and we'd go outside and play all day, and the simple things in life,
It was because my hometown, what happened in the 90s, the big factory that was there, Oshkosh Bagosh, so the cute overall factory, it propped the whole town up, and then it left, and town's been devastated ever since. That happened at the exact same time that Oxycontin and Percocets became a thing, so it's like the jobs left forever, pills showed up for good, same exact time, and it just wrecked my town. So the point is, like, it was poverty stricken, but like everybody was poor and broke and screwed up. Like I had one friend whose parents were together.
Right.
Literally every single one of us, the rest of us, like I said, broken home. Parents, split up. At least one of them's on pills or whatever. Like it was that type of thing. But it was everybody. So you didn't get like picked on for it, or it wasn't like a problem because it was like a universal experience.
It was standard.
Yeah. It was standard, in that town. So yeah, you did. That's what I'm saying. Like, you used to have this bit about like when I first got a college girlfriend who was from like a suburb of Nashville, and I went to their place for Christmas for the first time, and that was one of those revelatory moments. Like I'm in their kitchen looking around, I was like, why is all your plates the same? What's that about? Like, well, that's weird.
No.
Like I didn't know. That glass Tupperware just blew my mind that was even like
glass Tupperware.
Glass Tupperware, yeah. I couldn't believe that existed.
We didn't have any Tupperware, but my grandmother's prized possession was like a one piece of Tupperware, which is an insane. These conversations. My dad didn't have Tupperware. We didn't need Tupperware because he didn't cook or bring home leftovers or go out to dinner. He didn't eat, really. My mom didn't cook or do anything either. But Tupperware was a little bit exotic and a little bit expensive. Yeah. I mean, for that crew, my grandmother had like 2 pieces of Tupperware, both completely fogged up, looked like they'd been bead blasted. Like somebody showed up with a pressure washer and put some sand in it, like sand, like what they used to take graffiti off the side of stucco, right? So light wouldn't pass through it. But even when I was older, when I was like 21 and living on my own, my grandfather would cook a big thing of goulash or something, and he knew I was like I would say starving student, but just starving, not going to school, and he'd try to send me home with a bucket of this goulash, and I could hear him and my grandmother like arguing in the kitchen where he'd be putting it into the Tupperware and she'd be going, no, get the jar, the mayonnaise jar that's kind of cleaned out, put it in the jar. And he'd go, why do I have to put, he's going to take the Tupperware. We don't know where he's going. Like, I'm going to go to Mexico and start a new life with this Tupperware that's 14 years old, bitch. And she did not trust me with this. But that meant Tupperware was a big part of her. That was a big ticket item for her.
Prized possession. Yeah, no, I mean, we, like, my Meemaw, rest her soul, always used, like I said, like butter tubs and that type of thing, country crock tubs and that type of thing. That was our Tupperware.
No, it's a lot. Yeah, I used to go to my buddy Ray's house, and he had these green plastic trash cans that the slime shit used to come in. That his mom would. It's like they act like we're on an island and shit washed up.
Right. Yeah,
and you got like, hey, dude, that spork is good. It's got a little moss on it.
Found an empty tub of country crock.
Don't throw that. Hey, if it's got a lid, it ain't going in the trash can.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't care what jar it was. It's a little crusty on the top, but it used to have mayonnaise in it, but it could be used to transport things.
Yes.
Like living on an island.
Beans. Yeah, whatever you need.
Well, let's hear more tales of the cheap from you. I think you can break the poor people in to, all right, so I've always said it's Tough Skins versus Levi's. It's Schwinn versus Huffy. If you rode a Huffy bike and wore Tough Skins, you were bad. But if you had Levi's and you were a Schwinn guy, you were doing okay. But now, at some point, things became sort of ubiquitous, like you could go to Marshall's and get Levi's, or something. But I'm going to a third category. I'm going to go Schwinn, Huffy. I'm going to go, and there's also a shoe version, like the Adidas with the 4 stripe on it, fake Adidas stuff or Nike stuff or whatever. And we got Tough Skins, Levi's. I'm now going to use sandwiches as a way to delineate the rich and the poor, because the poor people had fucking American cheese, piece of Miracle Whip spread on white bread or whatever. That was their sandwich. Households that were killing it had like beefsteak, tomato, and smoked turkey and provolone, and she got rolls from the bakery, and like you had a real fucking sandwich, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one, because the white trash never got the good sandwich.
No, I mean, you couldn't. The ingredients that go into that good sandwich, you couldn't get those in my county.
You couldn't get smoked turkey.
You're not like good turkey, or like you said from the bakery. Like, there's no bakery. There's two grocery stores. There's a Save-A-Lot, which is like a discount grocery chain, and then there's a locally owned, like family-owned grocery store that's called The Best Way or whatever, and it's been owned by the same family for years, and that's like the nice one, but I don't even know what I would compare it to out here. First of all, it's tiny, and it's not remotely upscale.
All right, so what were your sandwiches?
I mean, dude, I was eating, a lot of bologna. Big bologna. Big bologna, American cheese, mayonnaise, like you said, hot sauce, that type of stuff. Oh, really? Yeah, but I didn't like any.
It's prison food.
Yes.
It is,
any kind of like toppings, like any kind of vegetables or anything like that. Like not until I was, exposed to like Subway in college or whatever. It's the first time I ever had any of that type of thing.
Man, what was your sandwich situation like?
It's like, man, his description was, we just went to Piggly Wiggly though. Yeah. You had bologna and that stupid cheese. It's not cheese. And then a slop but mayonnaise. Yeah. Real mayonnaise. A 5-gallon jug of Duke's mayonnaise from Costco or whatever the hell it was. And man, I would get down on some mayonnaise to make everything better.
But like, did you eat like canned meats? Like, did you eat like
Spam was a standard staple.
Vienna or Vienna sausages.
Vienna sausages were in there.
Sausages. Yeah. You know what those are? Little.
Oh yeah, cocktail weenies.
And then literally just potted meat. It's like trailer pate.
Yeah. There is
loved all that stuff.
I don't know. We've looked this up before, Dawson. It is maybe Arm and Hammer or something.
Meat Armour. Armour.
Armour.
I'm familiar.
Deviled ham or whatever, and it was a fucking can. It was like you could have just popped a lid off some cat food, and it would have been the same nutritional difference. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I had. My thing is, I had erudite white trash. Poor people.
Yeah,
it was a weird combo.
Like, what do you make? Like what? Like burnout hippie type white people, or like artsy poor white people?
There's Armour. Yeah, tried
tuna sandwich every once in a while.
Ooh, tuna, melt.
I know. Balling out of control.
Yeah, my mom didn't do sandwiches because it was too. She'd have to leave her broom in order to make sandwiches.
My mom didn't do mom
stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I never. I'm always amazed, because now I'm older and I'm a mom or dad. I'm in LA. I can decide. Yeah. It's like, it's also weird not to do anything for your kids. Yeah. It's a weird impulse. Like, my kids are 18 now, but they'll like hit me up sometimes and go, hey, you want to go to a Lakers game or something? And I just go, oh, let me try to make this work, whatever it is you're asking for. Weird impulse to be like, you know, when you're walking and you see some kind of homeless guy and you know he's going to walk up and he's going to ask you if you got some change or a cigarette or something. So you just kind of put your head down and you walk a little bit faster, or you pretend to be on the phone.
Yeah, to do that with your child.
You're doing that with your kids.
Your 8-year-old or whatever.
Kids like they're homeless guys who are going to come up and bother you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Did you have that?
Yeah. Well, my mom, so my parents split up when I was 7. I mentioned earlier the whole pill thing. That was my mom and my family.
Boy.
She got wrapped up in that. She went to jail multiple times and was also an addict. So like, I mean, she like literally, there was big stretches of my childhood where I didn't see her ever at all. And when I did, it was bad. So, I mean, she had like a lot going on, but she did that stuff too during some of the time. She'd have an apartment and like you said, she'd just be locked in a room all day or whatever. Like me and my sister just running wild. I have a bit about that on the special about how we used to just like we just wake up and just leave and just be gone all day long as a kid, you know, and which was not uncommon at the time. But we didn't know it was pre-cell phones and all that. Like no one ever checked in or cares. My grandma used to say, like, I know she was aware of any kind of dangers because she would like yell after me. I'm like 9, my sister's like 6, and she would like yell after us like, Trey, you watch out for your little sister. There's a lot of crazy people in this world. Somebody will snatch her ass up, you know. And it's like, I'm 9, but okay. Like, what am I supposed to, like, she was aware that could happen, but she was like, you got it. You'll be fine. And that was the attitude. But you know, it was fine. It was fun.
It's interesting because I'm older than you, so the mentality from my childhood was you just left.
Yeah, right.
And you never. But a lot of the differences are made up for you and I by sort of the time, because cell phone, no internet, no mentality. You just left. And by the way, you left in the morning and during the summer, and it's not like they went, here's $3 for lunch. You just left.
Right. Yeah.
That's that. Yeah. That you drank off of hoses.
Yes.
I ate a lot of fruit because I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. It was the summer, and there'd be apricot trees and nectarine. You'd pass houses that had apricots hanging off them, and you'd have to sneak up and grab a shirt full of them, run back out, go find a hose bin.
Like a raccoon.
That's fun,
yeah, it's awesome. But now see, this is interesting because I grew up that way as well. And then I just did the logical thing, which is just stumble on a construction site at 18 and work as a laborer.
Yeah, right.
So my parents were consistent. There wasn't any college, anything in the future. So, but you got to a college, which is miraculous.
It's the thing I said earlier about thinking I was Goodwill Hunting or whatever. I was like good at school, but like immediately, and then so like my dad, not my mom. I mean, her too. When she was around, she just wasn't. But like my dad and his dad, my grandpa, were very like from a very early age, we're like, you're gonna be the first one to go to college. You know, you're gonna be special. My grandpa was always like, he meant like I could be a doctor or a lawyer. Like those are that's the pinnacle of achievement in a town. Like that's the best any person could ever do in towns like that. Doctor or lawyer, both of which are great jobs, obviously. So when I got a little bit older, and I told him I wanted to be a comedian or whatever. He was like, "Well, oh please God, don't do that," you know. But my dad was always cool about it because he owned the video store. But I went to college anyway because that had always been the plan, and I was good at that too. Like I've sort of walked through it, and then. And also had a great time. Like I loved college. I wouldn't change anything just because of how fun it was. And also I was a late bloomer.
How'd you fund it? Pay for it?
Academic scholarships and also like financial aid from being a poor smart kid. So I had like a good ACT score so I had like academic scholarship. But I had like a full ride for all that. I still worked. I've been totally financially independent since I turned 18. So I worked as a server, a waiter all throughout college too, to like for spending money to pay the bills. But like I had, money from the school.
I think part of the deal was you need to be a good student and you need to, do well in your tests, things like that, SATs. But you need a little bit of an apparatus around you who will inform you about these scholarships or these loans or these things, like a counselor or a dad and mom will do too.
Yeah, no. That's also true. That's another thing that I've only, like, God bless her. She's doing, but like our guidance counselor, you know, because we weren't sending kids. The college I went to is pretty much, that's just about the only place that any kid in my school ever goes to is that college. The guidance counselor knew all the tricks and stuff there at that college for like getting scholarships and stuff, which is where I went. But I realized like later looking back, like I definitely could have gone to, I mean, any number of other better schools. But, you know, like I said, I mean, I'm a comedian, so it doesn't matter. But like, there was a lot of stuff that I was not ever told, that I did not realize was in the realm of possibility either, because there was no one there to tell me that. Like,
but you had enough dad and enough counselor to get you to that
to college. Period. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and again, I was pushed in that direction from like early on, cause just from making straight A's in elementary school and stuff.
Did you take the SATs or the?
We took the ACTs in where I'm from. I don't know why we didn't do the SAT. I scored a 32, but that's the one that it goes up to 36. But
wow, that's pretty good.
But I kind of, for me, bombed the math because I never liked math. I made like a 28 on the math part. The other three parts of it, I made like 2 35s and a 36. So
perfect score is 36.
Yeah. So I'd made almost perfect on 3 out of 4, and then the math one brought me down a little bit to 30.
Mayhem.
Yeah.
Did you ever take 16? The essay? You took did you take the SATs?
I did.
You did?
No, I took the pre-essay. I don't remember. I think I got punched out of me in fight 32, I think.
You would know if you took the SATs. They had pre-SATs.
Yeah, like for me, college wasn't even in the books. It was like, you're going to the Army. You're going to the Army. You're going to the Army. And then one summer I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to fight professionally. And then everyone was like, so you're not going to the Army? No.
Yeah. That also is part. After I made that score on the ACT, I started getting recruited by colleges, like academic, like they called my house and sent me letters and stuff.
Really?
So that was that was like
I took my corollary is I took the ASVAB, and they were like, yo, we're gonna get you into nuclear submarine.
Yeah.
And my uncle had just died from the nuclear submarine, so I was like,
that's the military version.
Yes, I did that. Yeah. I had that happen too. I actually had before. It was even worse in part because the recruiter around that area. I was a sophomore, so 15, I guess, and when 9/11 happened, and right after that, they came and set up a booth like at my high school, you know, signing people up or whatever. And I literally tried to sign up right after 9/11, but I was 15, so I couldn't. He told me, we'll get you later. And then I took the ASVAB and all that stuff. But by the time I was of age, we were bombing Iraq, and so we were in Iraq and all that. And I already even then I didn't like that. So
I took the ASVAB. They were like, yo, you're great. Suddenly somebody's telling me I'm a genius, and they're trying to get me into this thing. My best buddy, who was like not really into fighting, he was like a peaceful, artistic. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go in the Army so that I can get my photography degree. And then 3 weeks later, after he got out of boot camp, they sent his ass to Iraq.
Yeah, that's rough.
It's a nightmare.
I have this joke that no one ever laughs at.
I will.
I tried, and I tried it like 3 times, and no one ever laughs at it. I have certain jokes that are so mean or so weird or so unpatriotic that no one ever laughs. I got 10 minutes on my mom that no one ever laughs at. It's funny, but it just means it's sad,
Yeah.
But I had this joke, which is the guy sitting home. They do these stories of 9/11 where the guy goes, I was sitting home. I was married at the time, and the young child, and I sitting home, and I watched that second plane fly into the tower, and I got up that day, and I went down to the Marines, and I signed up right then and there. And I was like, well, that guy's a hero, but he also didn't have a lot going on. Because I saw the plane hit the tower too, but I had shit going on. I couldn't just go, that day, shipped off 2 weeks later. By the way, it makes you kind of a bad husband.
Yeah.
A hero, but not a great husband, not a lot going on. But they don't like that joke.
No, nobody does.
Well, Pat Tillman did that. He had stuff going on.
Well, that's the whole thing. It didn't work, but he had stuff. The reason the guy's a hero is because he had the ultimate going on.
Right, and still did it.
NFL contract. You sitting home. First off, what were you doing sitting home watching TV at 9:30?
On a Tuesday.
Why aren't you at work? Yeah, anyway. I'd like to circle back to this sandwich thing.
Yeah, please. All about sandwich stuff.
Because I think a sandwich, they said it, the great Van Halen. I think it was Van Halen.
Hey, yeah.
And the whole green M&Ms thing.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys may know the story, but
the Ryder story.
The Ryder, but for many years it was always like, what's up with them and the green M&Ms, you know, and who cares, and diva rock stars.
Yeah, and
then their answer was, we had a lot of pyrotechnics and shit going on, and the green M&Ms just meant you'd read the Ryder.
Read it. Yeah,
right. So that was a test.
Yes.
The sandwich is a mom test. It's not so much a poverty test. It's kind of a mom test. Mm-hmm. It's both. It's part financial, but it's probably 60% effort.
Right.
Like, you got to want to make your kid a good sandwich, and if you do, you will find a way. Mm-hmm. No one is so impoverished that they can't really do you a solid egg salad or something like that. But that's a calorie burner.
Yeah.
You got to boil those eggs and peel them and all, and put them mashed on it. So when you get a bad sandwich, it's a metaphor for poor, but it also means mom not taking care of business, because moms that really are into being moms and really love that kid, even in the face of poverty, find a way. And people kind of tell you that. They'll go, we didn't have a lot, or whatever, but my mom would make the best, because she'd do something a little. And no one is so poor that they can't get it together for a sandwich, even if it's like once a week or something like that. So I think the bad sandwich family is not only poor, but it's neglectful mom.
Effed up. Yeah. Well, I mean, that tracks for me. But, I think it's all.
Did you get a good sandwich?
You guys are making me love my mama so much.
Did she make you a good sandwich?
Avid listener.
Yeah.
So, my mom handled that. Lettuce and everything.
Lettuce?
Yeah.
What?
I'm telling you. Bingo, bango. I would watch her do it sometimes. I was so happy. One time she made me a sandwich so good. Oh, it was great. I couldn't wait to eat it. I got it and I was like, I want a glass of tea. So I went to go get a glass of tea, and the wiener dog jumped and snatched my sandwich right out of my hand. It was her wiener dog, so I couldn't kill it.
Yeah. Classic sitcom moment.
I'd say a sandwich, but it's also effort. They go, let me make you a sandwich. And then you sit down and then you watch them make you a sandwich. It's got elements. Now, this is going to sound weird, but it's sort of later in life when you get married and you get a girlfriend. It's sort of like saying, let me give you a blowjob. It's just kind of like, this is a little effort just to say, I care.
Yep.
And that's the mom version. Now, you don't want the blowjob from your mom. Yes, the mom
sandwich is the blowjob of mom.
It's been said many times, but it's basically you just at 9. Yeah. It's like getting a blowjob at 9. You're just going to sit back just because I don't want anything in return.
Yeah.
This is all for you. Someone's going to end up with a mouthful of mayonnaise.
But the other part about that, in my opinion, is like you were talking about, you got lettuce and everything. Yeah. I think about, like, maybe this is a particular type of redneck thing, but I knew, like, redneck adult men, in addition to, like, my friends and stuff, who, like, they don't eat green stuff. They don't eat, like, vegetables or whatever. So it's like, even if a mom put, like, that type of thing on there, they'd be like, if I wanted a salad, I would have told you, make me a salad, bitch.
Hey, the poor person hack, though. I don't know where you guys come down on sausage. I feel like that's like a sandwich by itself. You grab the sausage out of the tray and just bite like a big, I don't know, like a Polish kielbasa or something like that.
Love them.
My Hungarian grandfather who did a little bit of cooking, would get into some sausage.
Sausage
every once in a while.
Yeah.
Any and all types of sausage I'm down with.
Hard to go wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll put kielbasa. I like the redder sausage versus the whiter sausage. My enjoyment goes up as the hue gets a little darker. versus the light
like
veal ones or whatever.
Chorizo or something. That's pretty dark.
Chorizo ends up. I had a bad experience with a little chorizo not too long ago, but I'm all about the kielbasa.
Me too, bud.
So all right, so sandwich is the metaphor for love and caring. Now, what's the relationship like with your mom now?
Not great. I mean, she's still around, and she'll probably, wouldn't surprise me, she'll end up finding a way to hear this. Because, again, for such a small town, like, someone will see that someone will hear this, and they'll send it to her, and she'll listen, and she'll text me about it.
Who are the people who do the sending?
I never know, but I never get the specifics.
Because I'm more interested in that. Like, I'm more interested. The Nazis that pulled Anne Frank out of the attic, I'm not that interested in them because they're just Nazis doing their job. They're just doing what Nazis do.
Yeah.
Somebody told them Anne Frank was up in that thing. I'm more interested in that person because that person's not a Nazi.
What motivated them? Yeah.
Well, I mean, in towns like mine, they used to literally have these shirts you could buy like gas stations and stuff in our town that said like Salina. There's not much to see, but what you hear really makes up for it. And it's a picture of these two like ladies like gossiping with each other. Like it's like a big part of the culture there is to like stir shit up and gossip.
Really?
And stuff. And
that's like, a good impulse.
I know. And they when I was in high school, like when the internet was becoming a thing, I don't know if they still use it, but this website came about called Topics, Topix, topics.com, and it was like a small town message board. Dude, just a cesspool. Like people were just going on there just to talk shit about, because it was anonymous. It's on the internet, so you could call anybody a bitch or a cheating whore or whatever. And so it's just always been a thing in my town. So I'm not at all surprised that someone, held that if there is one person that hears it from there, this will get passed around because I'm talking shit.
Let's backtrack here,
which is fine. By the way,
okay.
I'm just saying it'll happen.
But let's break this down. I've said this many times. Me accurately reporting what happened is not talking shit.
I know. Tell me about it.
I've said this a million times.
Believe
Kevin
me.
Smith basically ripped me off for $500,000 and fucked me over. And I say that all the time, but it's only because he did it. He just, now I'm an asshole if I make up shit that didn't happen.
Right.
I didn't know the story.
If I do tell you accurately what happened, then I'm just reporting.
Yes.
And also, Mayhem is accurately reporting on his mom in a favorable way.
Right.
Because she made him a sandwich. My mom didn't make sandwiches.
Preach.
Now, you've decided that's a bad mom.
Right.
But that's her choice. I'm doing it, let's just say, I'll do it without prejudice. I'll just go, that guy's mom made sandwiches. That guy's mom didn't make sandwiches. And then you can decide who the good mom was. I won't say his bad mom didn't make sandwiches. If you don't like the way people talk about you, then don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
How about that, everybody?
Yeah, she calls it putting her on Front Street is what she calls it. But my position's always been the same as yours. I'm always like, I'm just answering the questions honestly or talk about it. Like I just say what actually happened. It happened to me. It's my shit to tell. It just involves you. So, but yeah. Well,
what kind of interaction?
Therapy session or nothing?
What kind of interactions have you had with her? And is she happy for your success? Or
I mean, yes, yeah, she is. She's like real happy and proud and all that. But she still lives back in a holler in rural Tennessee, and like we text every so often. I send her money and that type of thing, and that's just about it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm like around, she'll come. I normally do shows at Zany's in Nashville, and she'll come to like one of those usually.
Well, she'll come to a show.
But I'll be like in Tennessee with my sons, her grandkids, and she'll like say, "Oh, I'm gonna come by while you're here on this day," or whatever else. And then like invariably that morning, it's like, her back's acting up, or her car's jacked up, or something like that, and then she just doesn't, or she's coming with a group of people to a show, and then the group of people shows up and they're like, your mom couldn't make it. So it's like all the people that I got tickets for who are with her, like her group, like they're all there, but she is not. Like that type of thing. It just happens a lot. So, but I always just laugh it off.
I'm used to it.
A lot of mom pain.
I'm sorry, guys.
I've heard people theorize that like that's the
motivates you.
Well, that is what a way whatever worse means. I guess that like dad stuff is just way more common or whatnot. But like dudes having mom stuff are all fucked up. Like people think. But
I'd say it's a faster road to fucked up.
Right.
Is mom, because dads make a difference, but they're not as necessary as a mom. I'd say it's probably it's like a 60-40, maybe a 65-35 split. Like anyone who's had a dad. Now, if your dad's in jail or your dad abandoned you and never speaks to you and or moved to Florida and has got his new lady friend and never speaks to you, that leaves a mark more on the daughter than it does on the son. If your dad's squadron shipped out in Vietnam and he just never came back because he was flying his F-4 in Mig Alley, you don't have a big problem, like a big hole in your heart. You go, my dad's a hero.
Right.
My dad, I saw him when I was 4. I don't even remember him, but my mom says he flew right into those MiGs, guns blazing, and that actually works versus dad who's alive who doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting, which shows you don't really need the dad. You need kind of the spirit of the dad.
Right.
Your dad dies a war hero. You're not going to be that fucked up.
Right. Yeah, and there's no...
Now, your mom leaves and dies.
Moms.
Viet moms.
Yeah.
When they leave and die, you're fucked up because you don't have a mom.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how you know moms are more important.
Yeah.
And why you're fucked up.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't know. I used to be real... I used to be very... Like, I do agree with... Like, everything you just said makes sense. But I was always like, hell, moms are overrated. That's what I used to say. for obvious reasons.
But now here's
but I hear you.
Here's the effect. The overall, I think, residue of a mom who didn't care. Because it's a weird thing when your mom doesn't care about you. It's a bizarre thing because you have to process other people caring about you. But if your mom doesn't care about you, then why would anyone else care about you? Yeah. And so you have difficulty like processing other people being concerned or doing things or caring about you because your mom is sort of the number one born to care about you person. And when she doesn't care, it becomes confusing and leads to relationship troubles. I could say also it's like confusion. Like sometimes if people go and you tell me if you experience this or something, they'll go, Trey, geez, you weren't at the party. Yeah. Well, people were looking for you. And you go, why? You go, well, they wanted to say hi to you. They wanted to see you. They wanted you to, you were disappointed. They wanted to hang out. And you go, they wanted me to, why do they care if I come to the party or not? Like you have a sort of like, why would somebody care if I showed up or didn't show up? Again,
I think the thing that balanced all that out for me was all that smart kid shit I was talking about. Like I had a very, very high opinion of myself when I was like a teenager or whatever. And well, this isn't especially in spite of all that.
Well,
that was part of it for me. Was like, look how impressive I am. I got all this shit going on, and I'm still a super genius. But then I'm not. I wasn't.
Being good at something is good. Probably saved you.
Yeah,
good student. But it still can mean you feel invisible sometimes.
Yeah,
and confusion when people sort of go, I was thinking about you, or I was just talking about you, or something, and you just go, why are we talking about me? Like it seems weird, like a little confusing, but maybe I'm projecting.
No, I definitely had I think entirely because of my mom, and until I like met and was with my now wife for a while, I definitely had like woman problem, meaning like, I didn't have the highest opinion of women basically when I was younger.
Slow starter with you and the ladies?
Yeah, I was a late bloomer. I was like a fat dork also as like a little kid. And then in college I kind of kids today call it a glow up, I guess. Had a bit of a glow up in college. Mm-hmm. Thinned up, grew up, got taller, whatever. Grew a chin strap beard. It was early 2000s, it was all the rage. Mm-hmm. and things like turned around, but I didn't, I just thought I had some I guess whatever chauvinist or whatever you want to call it tendencies at the time. I just didn't trust like girls basically. And I know it was because of my mom, but then I later got over all that. I would like to think. I've been with my wife for 16 years now.
Oh,
so
wow.
we have 2 kids and everything's good. So she helped me through it, but I mean, my mom definitely fucked me up. And I'm sure there's like so many things that like I don't even still recognize or understand about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the moms can cause the damage to the sons and the daughters, but the dads can't do as much damage to the sons, but they can do a fair bit to the daughters. Because that's a tough one when you're a daughter and daddy doesn't care. That's a tough one. So, dude, right. You tend to play sports and you like get out and you physically like get it out. You wrestle and fight and you just go hit other dudes,
Yeah.
And it works. You know what I mean? It's like it kind of gets that out of you.
Catharsis.
The women, it's tough. It's tough.
I don't know. My sister would throw some punches and shit.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Punches and broomsticks and all that stuff.
Yeah, so your sister had your dad who was pretty good, but your sister had but your mom was not good.
No, not good, but she is still, she sees her and talks to her way more. They're both still like back around there. And I mean, she drives my sister crazy, don't get me wrong, but like my sister still has something to do with her, Like I honestly admire my sister for it because I just don't make the effort and don't feel that bad about it. Right. Everything, but like my sister, even in spite of everything, does make some kind of effort with her.
Well, yeah, I think that's the feminine wiring where they kind of go, steal your mom. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you kind of go, look, she made her bed. Now she can lay in it, And they go, yeah, but that's your mom, And you go, I know. I didn't talk to her for 4 years, And they go, yeah, but, which is the feminine. I mean, probably more feeling and less pragmatic. Like, hey, all right, maybe my mom on the birth certificate, but not really, growing up.
Yeah, no, that's what I came around to that line of thinking at some point. Like you were saying, it's like, you're born with people in your family. There's not, it's just the way it is. Some people like put more value into it than others, whatever. And like, yeah, my sister, it still means something to her. I'm not saying it doesn't mean literally anything to me, but, it's like you were saying. It's like, it's fine.
Yeah. It's sort of like, all families this way. They can be everything or they can be not much. They could never be nothing. They can be, depends. Some people work with their dad full time. They go into the office every day and it's their dad's law firm or something. And they go out and see the opening day at Dodger Stadium every year. It's a tradition, like whatever that shit is that all the good people do.
Weird stuff.
But it'll never be 0. It could be a 10, I'm sitting about 2.5, maybe 1 7/8 or something like that. Yeah. But it can't be 0 because there's always going to be a little feeling there, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know where you put orphans at. How you classify orphans on your scale?
Have to deal with the fact that they were abandoned, by their mom, probably more especially than their dad.
But what if both parents died in a car crash in Vietnam or whatever?
They were driving to Vietnam.
Yeah.
They're driving a MiG straight at his dad.
Yeah, both parents died in Vietnam.
That's so funny. I don't know why, Dawson. You got to look this up now. All right, now it's a full circle world, but there were in the movie, in the TV show Family Affair, Buffy and Jody were orphaned because both their parents died in a car crash. They seem fine, but that could have just been
the show.
That could have been sitcom stuff talking, but they seem pretty well adjusted. But I'm pretty sure Buffy and Jody died, parents died, and then they got Mr. Bill, their Uncle Bill, is the guy who sort of adopted them, and then they had to move into Manhattan, into a penthouse with him and Mr. French.
Sitcom setup there.
Yeah, both.
Did they come from a farm or something?
What you talking about, Willis?
Two country girls.
I didn't get a whole. Yeah, I didn't get a whole lot of backstory on Buffy and Jody, but
they probably sang it in the song.
Yeah,
the theme song to the.
Remember the theme song?
No, it was all music. It was musical.
Oh wow,
it was instrumental. So it was burned in my psyche. But later on, and this is one of those feeling old things. Buffy Davis was her last name. Let's see. In the television show Family Affair, Buffy and Jody's parents, Bob and Mary Patterson, tragically died in a car accident, and they're subsequently adopted and cared for by their Uncle Bill, Bill Davis. So they became Buffy and Jody Davis. There was an older sister, a teenage sister, who was not traumatized at all by the death of both their parents when she was 13 or 14 either.
15-year-old Sissy.
Sissy. Now, you want to feel old. Sissy, the actress, plays the elderly wife on a commercial where they're like selling the phones that have the inscriptions, where they print out the verbiage. She's talking to her grandson. And I'm like, that bitch was a teenager last time I saw her. Now she's being cast as someone who needs an assistance phone to talk to her grandkid.
Yeah.
So sadly, that makes me old too, because I used to watch her when she was 14. Now, as if it couldn't get sadder, Buffy Davis, the actress who played Buffy Davis, killed herself at 17 or 18.
What?
A punk band wrote a song about her killing herself, which is pretty fucking punk for like 1981, right?
Right. Well, what was the tone of it? I mean, I know punk, but I'm saying, were they like, fuck yeah, that's hardcore? Or they were like,
I think it was marginally disrespectful that they wrote a song making fun of her killing herself. And then there was a porn star.
Yeah.
A very popular porn star from the 80s named Buffy Davis. Buffy Davis, this poor child actor plays Buffy Davis when she's 5, is dead by the time she's 18, but gets a song and a porn name out of it. Out of her character.
She's iconic.
Yeah.
That's the reason she killed herself. She can live on in perpetuity.
Buffy Davis was a porn star. Let's just check that. And then also, what punk band wrote Buffy the punk song?
And it's in the 80s. That's like
was
before No Effect.
I mean, when I say 80s, I mean like probably more like 80 or 81 or something there.
Was that the end of the show, her doing that, or did the show end and then she killed herself? Like, was it a...
She was in the show from like 5 to 8 or 9 or something.
Oh, and then years later.
Then I don't know if it was an OD or intentional suicide, but that was some years later. But still 18, not like she was 55 or something like that. And then somebody wrote a song about it. Which I guess if you're a punk band and it's 1980, everything's on the table.
Yeah.
Right? You don't go, whoa, that's a little mean-spirited. You got to go hard in the paint, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to get into it,
That was the
right?
vicious years of punk rocks, too. That was like before they softened it up. No pop punk. That's like real punk rock.
There's a band called the Dead Kennedys.
Yeah.
And there's another band called the Dead Milkmen.
Yep.
And they wrote a song called Teenage Enema Nurse.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going for grit.
Yeah, the Buffy one, is it like a scathing indictment of Hollywood's relationship with child actors? Or
It would be nice if it was
like that she's the victim of a fucked up system. And,
you know what? If it had a
Buffy,
had a theme,
or they just like, what a dumb bitch Buffy Davis was.
I hope as we look for this.
Yeah, I hope we get it.
I hope it is an indictment of the system.
Yeah.
But I fear that it's just making fun of the chick who killed herself or OD'd or whatever. It's a punk song, Dawson. We found it before.
Oh, wow.
We've done this one before.
All right.
And I don't remember the name of the band. And I don't know what you're typing in, but it is punk song about Buffy from...
You're certain that's
I'm searching Buffy Davis suicide punk song.
Okay.
I think putting suicide might be slowing your roll a little bit. I'd say get rid of the suicide part and see if it's just Buffy. Put Buffy Family Affair punk song and see if something comes up.
I can't wait to hear the song.
Buffy Anissa Jones died in 1976 at age 18 due to combined drug intoxication.
76 at 18. So if she was a little kid in the show, that's like so that show was on in the 60s?
I think it started. Oh, you're right. Yeah, because you just did the math. Died at 76 at 18. So 66. Yeah, it must have been early. I must have saw it in syndication or something. All right. Any songs?
Yeah.
Here we go.
What'd you type in?
Buffy Come Back. That's
Buffy
the title.
Come Back.
Angel and the Reruns.
Buffy, Buffy, come back to me. Why'd you have to go and...
All right, hold on.
Wow.
Hold on.
Doesn't sound like punk to me.
Oh, you don't think it's punk?
Buffy, Buffy, come back to me. Why'd
This
you
is the
have
song
to
that
go
comes
and-
up.
Oh, yeah. No, it'll get into it.
Okay.
Uncle Bill, Jody, and Sissy.
That's definitely it.
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
They just name drop Sissy and
One,
Jody.
2, 3, 4. Buffy, Buffy, come back
what?
to me. Why'd you have to go and OD? Who will watch over Mrs. Beasley?
That's her doll, Mrs. Beasley.
Buffy, Buffy,
All right, on pause it for a second. What year is this, Dawson? Does it say? Because she died in 76. Like they didn't wait that
82.
long.
82.
All right.
6 years.
All right, we'll keep playing now. And we'll see if one of the band members in this band died of an OD at some point.
and Sissy.
I was the #1 fan of Family Affair, but since Buffy's gone, I don't really care. I've changed the channel, I'm sorry to say. Now I even watch Doris Day.
Oh,
All
wow.
right, so this is punk like the Dead Milkmen is.
Yeah, it's trippy.
Yeah.
It's novelty.
No, I know. I said punk. I
All
mean,
still alive and kicking.
this is punk part.
But
That's so
I'm sure
weird.
you were depressed. You should have switched to Father Knows Best.
Yeah, Buffy, Buffy, come back to me. Why'd you
So it's
have
like
to go and OD?
vaguely pro
Who will
Buffy
watch over Mrs.
while also being irreverent about
yeah.
the serious nature.
It's
Like,
fair.
I was a fan. I loved it.
Yeah.
But also, like, why didn't you just change the channel? Why'd you kill yourself? Like, it's not sensitive. It's not
one's for
sensitive,
you,
but
Buffy.
they do like Buffy, it sounds like.
Well, there it is.
Little guitar.
The Buffy.
Wow. Just
Tribute song.
not exactly as you remembered it, but still. It's there.
Hold on a second. I'm tired of defending
Wait,
whatever
you said
Dawson's
punk
allocations.
rock.
I said
I'm
punk
not-
rock, but
I know. I was just saying I don't think there are keyboards in punk rock.
I would bet they will
Yeah.
be, if you look up the band, they will be considered a punk band.
yes.
And punk rock wasn't all Sex Pistols. It was
Right,
just
yeah.
weird shit.
Yes.
It was whatever Toto wasn't.
Yes.
The Beastie Boys started as punk rock. Did you know that?
I have. They always kind of were. But I was just saying the correct names to Google in, and you shall find
We
it.
found it.
That's right. What was that band?
What is the? I always get fascinated by things that like were huge in pop culture and then they just totally vanish, which happens all the time. And I just do you remember Morgana the Kissing Bandit?
Oh, hell yeah.
Right, see, I didn't even know. I didn't know that until I heard it like referenced recently, and now apparently she was at one point like bigger than. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, sorry.
So you don't know Morgana, the Kissing Bandit?
Please
There's this
educate us.
lady who used to rush the field initially at baseball games.
I didn't know that she had an official name. Yeah.
Yeah, at baseball games, then eventually other sporting events too. But it started at baseball with Pete Rose specifically.
She would wear
and-
a pink outfit,
yeah,
big boobs, and she
massive
would rush out
boobs,
there
and kiss him and all that. But
Oh,
apparently
yeah.
she became like she 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 was famous by herself. Like she was as big as like any baseball player at one point for running out there and doing that. And I have no recollection of that and didn't even remember knowing that was a thing until I just found it out.
Listen, that was a coming of age tale for me. I was chubbed up every time she ran to third base.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can see why for sure. She's very,
you do know that.
I just didn't know.
You do know Morgana.
I do. I didn't know that was her name. I just knew she was the kissing bandit, big boobs. She's coming for second base. Whoever's out there, she's coming for him.
She was in the movie Kingpin. So
I remember that. Yeah.
All right. Why don't we take a break? We'll get a little news loaded up. We'll come back and hit that right after that.
Hear a redneck accent and they think you're resourceful. You know what I mean? Like people in LA, they hear me talking. They're like, oh, yeah, zombies show up. Trey will figure out how to put a chainsaw on a school bus, or whatever. Shit like that. But the truth is, I can't do none of that, man. Never have been able to. And it sucks because that's the only upside of growing up poor white trash. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do I have left? It's just like, I can't fix a carburetor for shit, but if you need to get your hands on a Kid Rock box set, let me make some calls.
Trey Crowder is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Trey's special Trash Daddy is out as we speak. It's on YouTube. It's doing quite nicely. Just came out. We'll do a little news now. We can just chime in.
All right, here's the news. First up, President Trump has invoked the Alien Enemies Act to deport over 250 alleged gang members, including those affiliated with Venezuela's notorious Tren de Aragua, to El Salvador. The decisive action underscores the administration's unwavering commitment to national security and rule of law.
When those guys are transported, the guards are all wearing masks, and the guys are all bent over at 90 degrees, basically,
in South America, that's that's how they do it.
That's how they do it.
They bend the guys over so there's no chance that they can break free.
Trying to avoid a Con Air situation.
Yeah. One of the greatest films of all time.
Just watched that with my sons.
Did you?
A week ago.
Oh,
2 weeks ago, something like that. Yeah, they're 12 and 13 now, so we're getting into that realm, those types of movies, like action movies and stuff, and they loved it. It's great.
There's something about Con Air. Con Air is one of the greatest films of all time.
It is, yeah.
Absolutely stacked
ridiculous.
cast.
Stacked cast, the best. But I will say there is a flaw in that movie, which is...
Oh, yeah?
Nick Cage did not have proper legal representation.
Absolutely. You watch that again as an adult. Like, I was a kid when it came out, and I just didn't think anything about it. But anytime I watch it, like, as an adult, I'm always like, bro, what was his lawyer doing? These guys were, like, threatening him and his wife's life or whatever, and he, like, is defending her, and they die. At least one of them dies or whatever, and it's like, it's a problem. They hand wave. They said, well, that's because his hands are registered deadly weapons because he's in the military.
They said because of his training, he was uniquely whatever. But listen.
But what's he supposed to do?
He goes into a bar after coming home from his tour of duty. He runs into the local dudes, the townies. The townie guy throws a wadded up dollar bill in his face, which could be considered assault. His wife is pregnant. Then they wait for him to leave that night, and they're all standing by his truck, and it's pouring rain.
Alley.
And one guy just pulls a switchblade out.
Right. So what's he supposed to do?
And next thing you know, the gavel's like 8 years in a federal prison. It's like
absurd.
Because there's three dudes with a knife waiting for me by my truck. It goes, we got to get this guy in prison because he's got to get on that airplane. And then someone goes, how about he ran over a Mexican busboy when he was driving drunk? And they go, no, that's a hero. He's a hero. He's a hero. Yeah, but he had a few too many. And he ran over that Mexican busboy who was riding a Schwinn back after washing dishes.
Huffy.
No. He's a hero. Yeah, I know he's a hero. Why is he in jail if he's a hero?
Right.
3 guys try to kill him by his pickup truck.
Right.
And he kills the guy with his own nut. And I'd be like,
but then he's not in jail.
But how's he get to jail?
Right.
I'm coming up with a plan
you
where
got
he goes.
The hero part, but now you're missing the jail part.
They're like, no,
we'll just put him in jail.
We want the hero and jail.
Right.
And I go, yeah, but I don't think guys who are decorated military veterans who are going to see their pregnant wife who want no trouble in a bar that has 80 fucking witnesses who will tell you those fucking drunken townies come in here and threaten people all the time. He did not provoke this. He did not do anything. How are we getting him to jail? Because those 3 townies were waiting with a switchblade. I still want to know how he gets to jail. We'll do it easy. We'll do a smash cut to the judge, gavel, and then he's in jail. I'm like, all right, but he didn't do anything wrong.
No, I agree. I mean, it's like they could have made him like some kind of like spy or something like that, but then it's like he's not as much of an everyman or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Meaning like they acknowledge that it makes no sense that he's in jail. He's like he's been railroaded for whatever reason.
Yeah, but they can't have. Well, he got drunk and beat the shit out of his wife.
Right? No,
can't do that.
Can't have that. No, but even the other thing in that movie. Steve Buscemi's like a notorious serial child murderer, and they set up the thing where he sees that little girl for the tea party or whatever, but he don't. And I'm not saying like movie would have been way better if he just slaughtered that little girl on screen. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, it's also kind of bullshit. I don't buy that a guy like that would get that kind of opportunity.
You're saying that Michael Bay makes unrealistic movies? I'm shocked.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know where picking this one apart. Leonard Maltin. I love that movie a lot. I like those things. About
it was a great movie because it was a cartoon for adults.
You're right. You're right. I mean, Nicolas Cage's accent is cartoonish, and I love it.
Right.
It's great. Yeah. But no, on that story, I just feel like I just wonder if there's any. Speaking of Mexican busboys, if there's any like Guatemalan landscapers roped up in that thing.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Who have tattoos.
Yeah, human rights
It's
groups.
a landscaper with a tattoo.
Yeah, they're arguing that Venezuelan nationals and legitimate asylum claims are in danger of being swept up in deportations despite having no known connection to notorious gangs.
Here's what I will say. If you're going to take a big rake and drag it over the country, you're going to get some... Oh, yeah. So here's what I'm saying. It's impossible to have zero. But you're going to have a face tattoo and be up to something in some group. The bitches from The View doing it could be you or it could be me. It's fuck off, maybe not, dumbos. No one's going fucking taking Whoopi Goldberg out. It's not going to be you or me. That's your narcissism there. It could be the gardener with the unfortunate tattoo. And I hope there'll be some vetting that ends up getting them back if that's the case.
Good,
but
that's the argument.
The redheaded white chick who's talking about her or her daughter or whatever, fuck right off. They're not going to take you. It's not going to be you. It'll be somebody that is loosely affiliated with, but maybe not one. Which, by the way, is what happens when you do this shit. Which to me, I'm not a... when you do when you're a hero, you get to go, if one person dies of COVID, then it's like, fuck off. There's going to be a lot of people dead. Now we need to move on with our society. We need to figure it out.
Right.
Shit's going to happen. Shit's going to happen with Doge. Like if you're cutting tons of federal spending, somebody who legitimately needs it is not going to get it for some period of time, and then hopefully it can be restored. But it's going to happen. But not doing anything is not the alternative. I don't think it's an answer to that, considering these guys are horrible criminals. I would say get them out.
Yeah, a judge attempted to halt the deportations.
I didn't see one guy that looked like Danny Bonaducci from the 70s going, "What's going on? I'm from Maryland. My dad's a lawyer. He's gonna fucking sue you."
Did you actually see a guy that looks like that in the pictures?
No.
Okay, because
did they have
no, I'm not saying they have one. I just thought you like talk about a TV show, but the show like Narcos or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't realize that in those. For the longest time, I did not even know you could have a white person who's from like a Central American country or whatever. I didn't even know that like was a thing that existed or whatnot.
All those people came from Spain.
Yeah, I know, which is white people. Right. Yeah, I know, right? I don't know what
exactly.
I don't know. It's just one of those things I just didn't think about.
No, it's a healthy thought. I have that thought.
And
too.
I watched some
I know the
show
difference
where there's
between Japan and China until I was like 31.
Sure.
So it's okay.
But yeah, then like some redheaded Sicario or whatever
Right,
in a show, and I was like, "What is that about?" And you look it up, and it's like, "Oh, they have those," you know. And I'm like, "All right, Louis C.K. is world famous comedian. He's a white Mexican
big
guy."
Irish. There was a big Irish influx at a certain point.
I would like to think that if somebody legitimately got swept up who was a citizen or not part of this, that we would hear about it at some point, and that person would have some modality for this, but I don't know.
No, I mean, I think you'd be right. It's such a big story, and all this going, and a judge tried to block this, and now the administration is trying to get him unseated. So
I would say
it's a blurry
someone
thing.
at CNN or the NAACP or another organization will find. First off, they would love to find a person that was a citizen that's not illegal, that was not a criminal, who got swept up in this. CNN is staying up late looking for that dude right now. Yeah. So if there is somebody, we'll find him.
Well, what about haven't there been like, they're not white Americans or whatever, but there's been like there was like a German guy and a like some like Europeans who got detained by ICE or something like that, but I don't know why or what they were doing. I just heard that it had happened.
And it has to happen because there's way too many people doing way too many things, and it's going to happen. It's almost like saying, I run Nabisco and we have our Wheaties factory, and I won't tolerate one cracker being broken. And it's like certain percent are going to break. And then you go, I don't want that. And I go, I don't want it either. And we got to try to have the least amount broken. But there's going to be cases. And we're going to have to figure that out.
And you set the line at. Like Nestle with their baby formula and whatever, they were like, we're good with tons of babies dying from this. We're finally, because what are you going to do? Not sell baby formula?
Yeah.
But
the interesting thing is that El Salvador's president had brought him in, said it's okay to take these guys and put them into high security. Well, they have the toughest prisons on earth.
Yeah,
aren't we
paying? We're paying them for that, right?
Yeah.
It's like a rent thing. I don't know what you call it.
$6 million to take the Venezuelan illegal immigrants. $6 million we gave them.
Let me tell you the prison you don't want to end up in. Doesn't matter where it is in the world. Where you don't want is if the prison bars are not bars, they're rebar that got welded together.
Yes.
That's a makeshift cage.
Yes.
You will see all the shittiest prisons have rebar, not prison bars. Let's say number 4. Nah, that's only half inch. I'd say like number 5 or 6 rebar. And it's rebar. Go by any construction site. And you will see that they used rebar. It's a third world move. It's not the prison you want to be in. And you will see those guys are in the rebar cage.
I think,
not our cage.
Yeah, no, I think another good indicator you don't want to be in a prison is if it's in the third world or just in El Salvador.
Definitely not.
Yeah, like not for me.
You're stacked on top of each other,
Yeah. All right.
Moving on. The LA Eden fire may have been sparked by disconnected zombie power line. Investigators are looking to whether a defunct zombie power line ignited the apocalyptic Eden fire and incinerated near 10,000 structures in Los Angeles County, despite the utility company officials insisting their equipment likely didn't cause the blaze.
California is such a weird place in that we have these, we're like making proclamations. I think Newsom has given up on a lot of his crazy shit because he's trying to act normal now so he can run for president. But we had like proclamations like no gas-powered cars will be sold and all going to be electric and all the appliances and so on and so forth. And so on one hand, we sound really advanced. Like these are proclamations that sound real first world. And then we got, those power poles are 150 years old and those wires will come down the first windstorm. And it's like, is it Green Acres or Jetsons? Like, which is it? Because we do it simultaneously. We have crazy, super advanced sort of thoughts, and then we have old world infrastructure that doesn't work. You know, it's like, well, the problem is the reservoirs were fucked up. We didn't have water in them. You know, we don't have firefighting airplanes. We got to get that shit from Canada. Like, okay, which are we? Are we new? Are we old? Are we advanced? Are we regressive? Like, what?
I don't know. You tell me, buddy. I'm still learning California. I don't know, but
California is an old piece of shit that talks. I've said, here's the metaphor. And this is where and this is what Newsom does. It's like, let's just say you and your wife went out to dinner with a couple, right? And you were getting to know them, and they were sitting there the whole time, and they were saying to you, you know, you got a house, and you start talking about getting some new carpeting or something in your house. And then my couple was like, I think I'm going to do the garage in all stainless steel cabinetry, like Euro high-end stainless steel shit, you know. I'm going to get the floor epoxy coated, and then I'm going to do the full Accurite slide ball bearings with all the drawers, and I'm going to have full 3/4 open with the European hinges, some really high-tech stainless steel garage. I'm going to do my garage up, right? You'd be picturing the rest of the house as being pretty fucking nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then if I invited you guys over and there were raccoons in the sink and the place was a fucking mess and it smelled like cat shit, you'd be going, what the fuck is this?
Okay.
Well, because I was telling you about my plan for the garage, which got you. And so when Gavin Newsom starts talking about monorails and shit and kids and schooling and stuff, you don't picture homeless people looking for a place to die in garbage everywhere. You electric vehicles in the future. You know, you're picturing the future, not tons of homeless people and fucking kids and poverty and garbage everywhere.
So California is like kind of like rednecky in some ways, because that's a very redneck thing. I feel like it was a Jeff Foxworthy joke, a redneck joke. It was something like, if you live in a single wide trailer, but you got a $10,000 surround sound system,
right,
or whatever, you might be a redneck. That was, you know, something like that. But that was very much a real thing in my experience. It's like you got to focus on one thing, whatever you can. Usually the most kick-ass thing, either a vehicle or a sound system or a sound system in a vehicle.
It's not the vehicles, the rims on the vehicle. Like the vehicle's a piece of shit, you know. Like that's a thing. We're gonna take a $1,200 Chevy Impala, and we're going to put $5,000 worth of rims and tires on it, and that doesn't work. Is the problem, and that's kind of what. No, when Newsom does stuff like he'll go, each big box store with more than 500 employees or something is going to have a third aisle for the transgender children. You go, oh, you guys are out of problems. Then that means you're out. You'd only do that if you're out of problems. You wouldn't do that if there was problems with the schooling and the homelessness and the garbage, and you wouldn't.
You took care of everything.
He does that,
right?
And it gives you the element of like, oh, so we must be doing real good with infrastructure and transportation and shit like that, but we're not. We have all those shitty problems.
This infrastructure, this idle line in question, that's been out of commission since 1971. So it wasn't supposed to be working. There was not supposed to be like electricity through it, but they say that the video may have been electromagnetic charges jumping from live lines to a dead one via a process known as induction. So I guess the electric charge jumped into this dead line, and eyewitnesses saw that there were flames at the base of this tower. So that could be where it started.
Who is that on? The electric company or whatever? Like, who's supposed to?
They're saying Southern California
keep that from happening.
Yeah, they said that they didn't do it. You know, they're claiming they didn't do it. It was an idle line, but a lot of eyewitnesses said the thing was flaming up good. Yeah.
I'm just saying, let's bury all the fucking wires. It's 2025. We're California. Everyone pays a shitload in taxes. Let's just fucking bury the wires and stop arguing about everything all the time.
We were chatting like the day, like I remember the day before your neighborhood burned down. We were talking like, it's a windstorm. They should like shut the power off or something. We were like going over some stuff off the air. Like, they should got to do something, because we were out, in the parking lot. It's just blowing wind everywhere. The power was out everywhere, and
the fucking pole at the end of the street fell over like 1,000 lines on. You're going to get someone killed. Just look. Mm-hmm. listen, everybody gives me the lecture where they go, you know how much money it costs to pay for... Listen, Newsom decided we were a sanctuary city for illegals, for abortions, for anything. Just come on down, we'll pay for, take care of, whatever. So I guess we have money, is what I'm saying. Use money. You're like the highest taxed in the nation or second highest tax in the nation. I know you can't find the money, but your gas is $3 more a gallon than it is in Louisiana. Like, fucking figure it out. You don't have the money because you're not spending the money correctly. That's why you don't have the money. You have a large tax base. You charge for everything. Use some of that money and bury the fucking lines, and let's get the fuck on with it because it's 2025.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that, no thought.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for spending more on, or like reallocating things to infrastructure and things like that. I think across this country, it's a big problem.
Well, I
think it's like we just tell ourselves, it's like, it'll be fine or whatever. There's always something else that somebody wants to spend money on instead for whatever reason. They're like, well, whatever, we'll get around to that. We'll get around to the bridge or the electric grid or whatever. And then 50 years has passed or whatever it's been, and now everything's all fucked and it's, too late or near it. So...
All right.
As long as my city doesn't burn down. Don Lemon says women at CNN sexually harassed him, including one who touched his nipples. In a recent interview on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast, former CNN anchor Don Lemon revealed he experienced sexual harassment by both male and female colleagues during his tenure at the network. One lady pinched his nipples and remarked, "Oh, it's cold in here." And he noted if the roles would be reversed, he would have been escorted out immediately. Oh, I guess we have a clip.
If the roles were reversed. That is true.
That's true.
I've been harassed by women and men in the work, and some things are not even. It's ridiculous. Now look,
tell us. I'm very interested.
There are some things that
no. I'm interested in this.
There are some things that are really egregious, right? And not everything is Harvey Weinstein level. And
that's rape.
And then some of that's a whole different story. I'm not talking about that. And I'm not saying it makes it right, but I remember when I was in Atlanta and was in the cafeteria, commissary, whatever.
At CNN?
At CNN. And this young lady, tweaked my nipples and said, "Oh, it's cold in here." And I said, "Okay, you realize if I did that, they'd be walking me out the door right now." But I didn't care. I didn't go to HR. I didn't.
Yeah. Well, he's admitting there's difference between men and women, which he doesn't like. But he's admitting, yes, it's egregious if you do it to a woman, and it's horseplay if you do it to a dude.
Right. Well, I've always thought, the difference is that, because as a comedian, I'm sure it happens, you get some saucy, drunk older ladies in a meet and greet line or whatever, they get pretty fucking handsy sometimes. That type of thing happens, and I don't, it's whatever. And it's whatever because, I don't ever feel remotely threatened by the situation.
Neither did Don. He's just a fucking pussy.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, that's the thing that makes it different. It really is not the same thing because whenever that type of thing happens to me, I'm not worried about this lady then what actually assaulting or raping me or something. I know that it's not gonna happen. But if you're a woman and if the roles are reversed, that could happen. So it's a different. It's not an apples to apples thing. There's a reason that it is a different scenario. That's why
Don
it's treated
Lemon's weirdly a huge narcissist, which is weird, and he's kind of dumb too. But he has moments where he's not dumb, but he's really basically a dumb narcissist. But he also has little fleeting moments where you go, "Oh, okay, he's good at his job," but then he goes back to dumb. But the answer is that's a coworker fucking around with you, having a good time. Also, I don't know what she knew, but women, when they find out a guy is gay, they fuck around with him. Yeah. And I've experienced that enough.
Yeah.
Enough where I start saying I was gay, so I could get something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they'll flash you titties, or they'll do whatever if they think you're gay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So he's gay. And I'm assuming that's kind of part of her fuck around. They also think if you're gay, you're just a little more open-minded, a little funner, a little more. You've in their world, you've chosen a life that's a little more sexual or flamboyant or something that they think. I would guess if a guy's gay, he gets cussed around. More people would cuss around a gay man than they would around a heterosexual guy because they just assume he's kind of laid back or easy
the way I
or
would
fun.
term it is I would assume that person was cool. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like an old deacon in a church or something. I'm not.
Right.
I'm going to be real buttoned up around him. But if it's a gay guy, I'm going to be like, nah,
Yeah.
Like,
so you also think there's a sense of humor that's implied.
Yeah,
too.
they're funny.
Like they're funny. They're fun. They're like sort of sexually liberated.
Yeah.
And they do kind of. They'll have that way about them. It's just a little more flamboyant, a little more open, a little more whatever. So she probably knew that about him and was fucking around.
Yeah.
Like trying to curry a little favor or something.
I just think that it's like anybody has. If you're married or if your person just doesn't like to be touched, whatever it is, if somebody does that and then you just tell them like, hey, I don't like to be touched. Don't do that again. Whatever. And then they keep doing it to fuck with you. Then that person's an asshole and that's a problem. But like if just a thing like that happens, I don't think it's worth like bringing up years later as like a moment where you were.
It's funny that you mentioned that.
Where you were harassed or whatnot. Like I don't think it rises to that
because he said that. This article brought up the times that Lemon was accused of misogynistic behavior.
There it is.
Like back in 2022, Lemon asserted that men's soccer is more interesting to watch, and had a big blow up with his co-hosts in 23. He faced backlash after stating presidential candidate Nikki Haley, the M51, was not in her prime, suggesting that a woman's prime was in her 20s, 30s, and 40s. The comment was seen as sexist, prompting Lemon to apologize. And 2 months later, the entertainment news the magazine Variety, reported that Lemon was accused of misogynistic behavior towards female colleagues, including Soledad O'Brien, Kyra Phillips, and Nancy Grace.
What?
And
you want to take a run at that?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I don't know that I buy that part.
Yeah. So, Lemon's representative denied all these allegations, labeling them as unsourced and unsubstantiated.
Well, listen. First, it's got to be tough over at CNN because you got to fucking dance around eggshells everywhere because you can't even say half truths without getting yelled at. Women in their prime, well, first off, if you're 10 years past or 15 years past being able to have a child, then you've probably passed what would be called your prime.
I mean,
but I'm a dude. I had a prime too. I'm past my prime.
I was going to say, no offense. No, I don't think anyone is in their prime at 51. Personally, I don't think. I think gender.
But what about all the NBA greats who dominated the league and they're up until their early 60s?
I just think that regardless of gender, like, are we really acting like your 50s or your prime, whoever you are, whatever you do, like they're not, Like
no,
you're
past
your prime if you're 50
your prime
something.
is not from the fucking time you're born till the time you die. It's called a prime.
For a reason.
It needs to have a sweet spot in there. Men have a sweet spot. Women have a sweet spot. Maybe men's change a little because there's a physical part, and then there's a kind of business part or whatever part of it that could be a more mental prime or something like that. But if you're calling it a prime, if you're just going prime, you are then announcing that there's a portion of a person's life where they're better shape or better whatever that. Now, the problem is she's probably sharper at 51 than she was at 19.
More politically experienced in that.
Yes. And so they're taking umbrage with that because we're not asking her to go into porn. We're asking her to run a government. So, And he's also an idiot, so he doesn't give a fuck. But
it's also that's just one of those things. I just feel like that's a good example of the type of thing that happens on the left sometimes, where it's like, what is the point of getting into all this shit? Like that just feels like a waste of time to me. It's like what the dude meant. It's like again, everybody gets older. Everybody feels a little worse as they get older. You get into your 50s, you don't feel like you did in your 20s or 30s. It's like, what is the point of getting pissed off about this and crucifying a guy over it or whatever?
He's trying to take a dig at her because she's kind of... He doesn't like, they're trying
100%
for something. It's like sometimes when you go, you get your fat ass out of here. And the guy, he's not really fat. He's kind of husky, but he's not really bad. But I don't like him. So I upgraded him from husky to fat.
Yeah.
All right. We got Roger Stone,
Oh, wow.
who's going to zoom in. I've never spoke to the guy before. Very interesting, colorful character. I'll bid adieu to Trey and Mayhem. And Trey, I will give you your plugs after the show.
Great.
Mayhem, you'll receive no plugs.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Good to see you.
You too.
It was a fun talk. Come
Thank
back
you.
anytime you like. Take a
Appreciate
quick
it.
break. Begin with the provocateur and strategist, Roger Stone, right after this.
The Adam Carolla Show presents Roger Stone's birthday cocktail party for August 27th. Let's see who's invited. Let's welcome the co-founder of auto manufacturer Rolls-Royce, Charles Rolls. Here's the American serial killer who was the inspiration for the movie Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Ed Gein. Let's welcome the 36th President of the United States, Lyndon B. Johnson. Here's the American author who gave us the book Rosemary's Baby, Ira Levin. Here's professional wrestler Sergeant Slaughter. Pee Wee Herman is here. Paul Rubens. From Fargo, let's welcome actor Peter Stormare. The current governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, just joined the party. From MTV, it's downtown Julie Brown. From Breaking Bad, it's Aaron Paul. And the guitarist from the greatest band in the world. Yes, I'm talking about Rush. Let's welcome Alex Lifeson. Roger Stone is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Roger Stone is a veteran GOP strategist and a man about town. You see him everywhere. The website, stonezone.com, is where you can go and see a lot of political commentary and media appearances and books and everything else. And on WABC Radio as well, The Roger Stone Show. Good to see you, Roger.
Wow, Adam, I just found out that I was born on the same day as Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York. Yeah. If her IQ was 1 point lower, you'd have to water her like a plant. This is a shock to me now. I knew that I was born on the same day as Lyndon Johnson. Ironically, my first book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, which became a New York Times bestseller, fully exposes our 36th president. And there's a lot of talk about that today, as you might imagine.
Yeah, Kathy Hochul there is a breed of ditzy female misguided Democrat women who seem to inhabit that party now, and she's one of the faces up on the Mount Rushmore of that group. It's almost become the party of crazy middle-aged women who haven't sorted out any policies or thoughts. You know, I got Maxine Waters over here. There's, of course, all the Ilhan Omars and everything. I don't know what's going on, but there's something that's happening with that group.
Well, let's remember, she was never meant to be governor. She was lieutenant governor. She served one term in Congress. She won a special election, was immediately defeated for re-election, but she was chosen to be lieutenant governor by Andrew Cuomo, who never dreamed that he was going to go down, not for putting people with COVID into nursing homes so that more people could die, but because he played grab ass with a bunch of women. So she's an accidental governor, and she's been a disaster. I mean, New York is literally a basket case. Rising crime, untenable taxes, no jobs. It's a disaster. She's a disaster. But then she makes AOC look like Albert Einstein, you know?
Yeah. It's weird. You know, COVID was funny because we took these characters like Cuomo and we took these characters maybe like de Blasio and even in Fauci and beyond, and we sainted them and anointed them and turned them into something they weren't, which is basically, criminality or malfeasance. I don't know what you want to call it, but they were horrible at their job during COVID, and somehow we decided to make candles with their likeness on it.
Yeah, it is. The Democrat Party in general is a disaster. I mean, AOC is talking about challenging Chuck Schumer in the Democrat primary for the U.S. Senate. I mean, bring me the popcorn. I can't think of anything I would enjoy more than left-wing Democrat fratricide. But if I may, let me just fanboy here a second. I was a huge fan of The Man Show. And I heard that you were half Italian and half Hungarian, as am I. I'm half Hungarian and half Sicilian, which means I'm very sentimental when I stab you in the chest.
Well, to be fair to the heritage, my grandfather, Laszlo Gorog, is the Hungarian, but I do not share his blood. He was my step-grandfather, but he's the only person that cooked for me and took care of me. So I grew up on Hungarian food, talking to him with his thick Hungarian accent and hearing about his sister Buzsi and her son Bela and Gabi. And so I got steeped in the Hungarian culture, but it's not my heritage, but I feel like it is. Like I have conversations every day going, why can't we get a good Hungarian restaurant in Los Angeles? Why is it all Thai and Indian and sushi? Be all that as it may. You start in this business at a very young age. I mean, you're going back to Nixon, right?
Yeah. I mean, basically, my political beginnings are really with Barry Goldwater. So as a kid growing up in suburban Connecticut, I live in an area where there are no kids my own age for at least 25 miles. So that means no team sports, no baseball, no basketball, no football. You have to engage in activities you can do yourself, long distance running, weightlifting, and so on. I became a very avid reader, and I particularly enjoyed history and biography. Woman who lived next door to us was an active Republican, gave me a copy of the book Conscience of a Conservative by Barry Goldwater. Suddenly, I no longer wanted to be an actor. Now I wanted to be in politics. That became my life's goal. His whole message appealed to me. Personal freedom, small government, a strong national defense as a deterrent to war, low taxes, anti-communism particularly. This is why it was particularly aggravating when Robert Mueller and his thugs tried to say that I was in on Russian collusion. I had family members mowed down by Russian tanks in Budapest in 1956. I hate communism. I'm not fond of Russians. So, but that was my political beginning. You're 12 years old. What do you know? I thought Goldwater was going to win. I didn't know anything. When he lost, I was crushed. Then I started studying the previous election, the election of 1960. I concluded at a young age that Richard Nixon had been robbed in that election. It was stolen from him. So I write a letter to him. He's practicing law in exile in New York City. And I tell him, look, I think you got robbed here. You should definitely run again. He writes back immediately. I still have the letter saying, no, I think I'm finished with politics, but if I decide to get back in, I'll be in touch. Because I told him I wanted in. He didn't know I was 12 years old at the time. So fast forward to 1967. This is when the phone in your home was on the wall, Right. My mother says, a phone rings. My mother says, there's a man named John Whitaker, says he works for former Vice President Nixon. He'd like to talk to you. So I'm very excited. I take the call. He says, so we have your letter on file, Mr. Stone, and we know you're interested. We're gearing up for the former vice president's campaign. This is being run out of New York City. Would you like to come in for an interview? And I said, absolutely. So I, put on my Sunday best, which was something my mother insisted on. I shined my shoes, took the train into New York City. They were a little surprised when I showed up. At that point, I guess I was 15, almost 16. They said, gee, we were expecting someone, much older. And I said, look, this is going to be an exciting campaign. I think Nixon's the one, and I want in. So I got hired as a gopher. I sat outside the office of John Mitchell, who was Nixon's campaign manager, then his law partner, would later, I think, wrongly go to prison in Watergate because he went to his grave saying he never approved the Watergate break-in. And I saw, Billy Graham. This would be days before cell phones, so you couldn't take selfies. But I saw Billy Graham and Barry Goldwater and Ronald Reagan and Nelson Rockefeller and Everett Dirksen, all these giants of American politics, and that was it. I was hooked because of my early signing up with Nixon. I worked in the 1968 campaign, then I worked again in the 1972 campaign, because Nixon and Ronald Reagan came from the same Southern California political milieu. I parlayed that into a job with Ronald Reagan in 1976 when he challenged Gerald Ford. Then again, reprising that when we beat George Bush. I was responsible for Connecticut. The Bushes never got over the fact that we kicked their ass in Greenwich, their hometown, in the Republican primary. So it was through my work for Reagan that in 1979 I met Donald Trump. He was just a raw prospect to join our finance committee. I wangled an appointment with him through a lawyer, Roy Cohn, and the rest is history. He signed on. We became friends. By 1988, I urged him to seek the presidency himself.
It's a really interesting time we're living in. I know I followed your story, and I know there was a raid on your home in Florida by the FBI in the early morning hours. I am not a big fan of that politically and or unpolitically. Like when we have, and I've talked to a friend, Mark Garagos, about this a lot. When it's a celebrity who gets caught for trying to get her daughter into USC for photoshopping her on crew team, you don't need to kick her door in. You can just tell her attorney to surrender and come downtown. It seems like unnecessary theatrics, which, by the way, sometimes people get hurt when people bang on the door at 6 a.m. and the dog's barking. You know what I mean? Like, obviously for you, CNN was along for the ride, so it was done theatrically. But walk us through that story.
Sure. Look, I think I was targeted not because I did anything wrong, but because I had known Donald Trump at that point for 40 plus years. And I think they thought they could flip me and get me to testify falsely against him. There was no Russian collusion to testify against. There was no WikiLeaks collaboration to testify against. So they hooked up this process crime. They claimed that I had lied under oath regarding in my voluntary testimony. I wasn't even subpoenaed before the House Intelligence Committee. And for weeks on end, they was teasing this in the media. Mueller focusing on Stone, Stone in Mueller's crosshairs, a noose tightens around Stone's neck. So I expected that they would contact my lawyer. I had a lawyer and say, hey, we're indicting your client for whatever. He should just turn himself in. But that would be the normal course of things. I have no previous criminal record. I was charged with a nonviolent crime. Instead, 29 heavily armed FBI agents wearing night goggles, carrying fully automatic M4 assault weapons, arriving in 17 armored vehicles with a government helicopter overhead and 2 amphibious units pulling up to the dock behind my home because I lived on a canal, converge on my home at 6 o'clock in the morning to arrest me for this nonviolent alleged crime. Now, I was arrested at 6:06 in the morning. At 6:11, a personality at CNN texts my lawyer and says, your client has been arrested. And he says, arrested for what? And she sends him a copy of my sealed indictment. It wasn't unsealed by a federal magistrate till 10:30 that morning. Has no court markings or timestamp on it. So when you look at the metadata tags on the indictment, it has the initials of Andrew Weissman, the corrupt prosecutor who wrote it, and therefore also the corrupt prosecutor who leaked it to CNN. So CNN has a camera crew. It shows up 15 minutes before the FBI, sets up 25 feet from my front door, and they later get an award from the White House Correspondents Association for their intrepid investigative reporting. They got tipped. It was that simple. And the point here, Adam, was intimidation. The idea was to get me to cooperate. They wanted me to lie. Ultimately, I passed 3 polygraph tests. There was nothing to lie about. I had no motive to lie. To the extent that I made misstatements in my voluntary testimony under oath, they were all immaterial. There was no underlying crime to hide, which is why the president ultimately, after I was bankrupted, after I lost, my home, my insurance, my savings, my ability to make a living, because like you, I make a living talking and writing. After I lost everything, then they offered me this deal that if I would just testify falsely against Trump, they would urge the judge to give me no jail time. And frankly, I refused to do that, was not going to do that. I'm not sure how you could do that and look yourself in the mirror.
I don't know that Americans understand enough or are deeply concerned enough about the whole lawfare portion, the chapter of this book we're writing currently, which is Biden and the DOJ and the FBI and all these actors weaponizing the justice system and going after people to help make whatever point they were trying to make. Now, it could be we want to get rid of Trump, or it could be we're living in a white supremacist nation and white supremacy is the biggest, most dangerous problem this country faces, or it's January 6 rioters. Those are insurrectionists that were moving on Trump's behest. You can't retroactively create crimes or increase the severity of a crime that didn't happen to make yourself right. And it's very dangerous for society if you're going to do it that way, because at some point you don't really have a society. You have 51 intelligence experts all signing a decree saying that a laptop, which the FBI has in its possession and had in its possession for almost a year, is not real. That's the opposite of having a society. And it bothers me that most people aren't bothered more by it.
I think the problem is most people don't fully understand it. So I had the naive view, even after they raided my home, that I'd get a fair trial. I'd be able to prove that none of these allegations against me were true. What you find out is you're not really allowed to put on a defense. So the judge in my case ruled that I could not use forensic evidence or expert testimony to show that there was never any hack of the Democrat National Committee, not by Russian intelligence or anyone else. It's just not true. There is no evidence of that. Just because John Brennan, the former CIA director, says it does not make it a fact. Or that I couldn't use evidence of corruption by the DOJ, the FBI, the special counsel's office, or any member of Congress. I don't want to say any names, Adam Schiff. In my defense, I could not raise any of those, even though the Constitution says in Kyles v. Whitley that the integrity of an investigation and an indictment is always grounds for defense. I was not allowed to raise those questions. One of the charges against me was that the New York radio host and one-time friend of mine, impressionist Randy Credico, who does an incredible Richard Nixon, by the way, had told me that WikiLeaks had this trove of documents regarding Hillary, that it was explosive, dynamite, he said, and that it would be released in October. I had the text messages in which he told me that, and then I asked him, how do you know this? And he said, I know a woman who's a lawyer for WikiLeaks. Now don't ask any more questions. That proves that what I told the House committee was true. That text message proves that what I told the committee was true. The judge would not allow us to enter that as evidence in my defense. So this idea that Americans are entitled to a fair trial, sadly, untrue.
How, what I hear about Russian collusion after hearing about it for 3.5 or 4 years nonstop, and then finding nothing at the end of the Mueller report, when you hear guys like Adam Schiff talk about it and other actors actors in this situation, they'll go, well, he found there wasn't enough conclusive whatever, but it's basically they're doing what we do with OJ, where they go, well, he was found innocent, but we all know he really committed that murder. That's the way they're doing that's the way they're doing it. They're sort of couching it as, well, nothing official, but it still happened, even at the end of an exhaustive report, which is insane. But the whole thing was started by Hillary Clinton's camp, was it not?
Yeah, that's exactly the point, which is take Andrew Weissman, the single most corrupt federal prosecutor in U.S. history, the de facto head of the Mueller investigation, because Mueller's around the bend, as he proves in his testimony before the Congress. He had been general counsel of the FBI. He knew that the so-called Steele dossier, this was the document that claimed that Trump had cavorted with Russian prostitutes when visiting Moscow as a private businessman and had observed them urinating on a bed that Obama had slept in. Complete fiction. Weissman knew that was fiction, but he still allows it to be the rationale for the greatest single dirty trick in American political history, which is the use of the full authority of the U.S. government and the extraordinary capabilities of our intelligence agencies to use two pieces of totally false evidence, Steele dossier and the false claim that the Russians had hacked the DNC, which the FBI admitted in my trial they had no proof of, to try to remove a duly elected president. And now, when you confront them and say, hey, you guys spent $30 million and you have nothing, they say, oh, no, a high-level Trump campaign official shared polling information with a Russian intelligence asset. Let's walk through that. They're talking about Paul Manafort. The polling information that he supposedly passed on would have been at a time that the Trump campaign had no proprietary private polling information because they hadn't yet gone into the field. It was post-convention. And the man who they claim was a Russian intelligence asset, Konstantin Kilimnik, was in fact a U.S. intelligence asset, as the independent journalist Matt Taibbi, among others, has proven, or as the cables that have been declassified between our embassy in Kyiv and the State Department prove. So they fall back on a lie when confronted. Schiff tells the same lie. Weissman tells the same lie. Norm Ives, they all tell the same lie. See, they have to justify the fact that they spent millions, destroyed lives, bankrupted people like me, and they came up completely empty-handed.
Yeah, and so I guess there's three components here. There's the political actors and players, the Hillary Clintons and the Adam Schiffs and whatever, and they're just sort of morally bankrupt and they'll do whatever, whenever. It's anything to win. I get it. I mean, that's their job. They're sort of like, it's like a football coach that films the other team's practice. You go, well, that's pretty underhanded, but you go, I get it. You want to win, and you just will do anything to win, and you're not governed by morality. Okay. And then there is the scary part, which is the FBI and the DOJ and other entities saying, we're going to help you win. That's the scary part. The scary part isn't Hillary Clinton. She's going to do what she's going to do. She's bankrupt morally and she's a liar, but she's going to do what she's going to do. It's the help from the federal government that's the scary part. And then there's a third component, which is CNN and the Los Angeles Times and the New York Times, which is now you've joined forces with the corrupt politician and the deep state to further the narrative. And now there's three of you. It's a three-headed monster over there. And then also, Hillary Clinton's doing whatever she's got to do to win. The FBI's worried about their jobs, I guess, in the military-industrial complex or what have you. But CNN, what are you doing? And then why are you doing this? And then aren't you worried about the long-term ramifications of being essentially corrupted and having everyone find out that you're a news agency, but you're not really a news agency. You're just sort of a cheerleader for one side, and you're going to be caught, whether it's all things COVID or all things Russian collusion or almost everything Trump or all the protection of Biden when he was completely diminished. You're going to be caught in a bunch of lies, and then people are not going to think of you as accurate, and then your ratings are going to go down.
Yeah, look, I don't get my news from CNN for the same reason I don't eat out of the toilet. This isn't a journalistic enterprise. These people aren't journalists. They're propagandists. And you're right. You see that today because their ratings, like MSNBC, are in the toilet. The point, I guess, though, is that because he doesn't come from the world of politics, because he's so improbable as a president, and because the deal was already cut, it was going to be Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton. Their policies are really identical: endless foreign war, the erosion of our civil liberties, massive spending and debt, printing press fiat money. They're really not different. It's like a kabuki theater where Republican Democrat is kind of it's like a Hegelian device that's used to divide us. It's really about the division between an outsider, in this case Trump, and the insiders, those in the swamp. And I think we have a realignment in the country, right? Where people who have common sense, people who are for peace over war, people who are for free speech over censorship, people who would like to know whether the food we eat and the drugs that we take are actually safe and effective, or those who believe that big pharma and big food should just do whatever they want. So I see Trump, first of all, as the ultimate outsider. He breaks all the rules, and he still wins. This drives them completely insane. This is what engenders Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, can you imagine Ronald Reagan saying in public, maybe we'll make Canada the 51st state and let Justin Trudeau be governor? No. I mean, right. Trump is trolling the guy. It's hysterical. But that's Trump. No other American political figure, certainly no other president, would ever do something that funny or that entertaining. So Trump drives them insane because he breaks all of their rules politically, yet he wins. And that wasn't supposed to happen.
What do you make of, I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that are coming true. You know, New York Times just had an op-ed about, well, COVID probably came from a lab and we were kind of misled. You know, it took them 5 years to come upon that truth. Anyone with a couple of brain cells would have said, what's going on? Well, there's a lab that studies these things, and then there's a wet market nearby. With that information, you would just go, well, I'm sure it came from the lab. And it turns out it did. And us normal people always knew that, but we were browbeaten into pretending like that wasn't true. But now you get even deeper into like the assassin. And, you know, there's these stories where I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, but you don't have to be a tinfoil hat guy anymore because these things just more and more comes true day in and day out in terms of stuff that you were told was a conspiracy theory. In terms of the guy who shot Trump in the ear, I haven't taken a deep dive into that guy, but I think we've certainly proven that these people will stop at nothing to get Trump out of there. I mean, it's a big deal for them. But who is that guy? What do we know? And then how come there always seems to be a vacuum of information about guys like that, or the guy who shot up the Vegas country concert and stuff? Just all of a sudden nothing. And there's always something weird. Like, turns out his house got robbed, even though it was under surveillance, you know, by the FBI and stuff like that. And you're like, how does that work? But you tell me.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I wrote the book about the Kennedy assassination. Maybe it sensitized me to it. But if you look at the events in Butler, Pennsylvania, it's 92 minutes. The Secret Service, the state police, and the local police know that there's a man with a gun inside the closed perimeter of Trump's event, but nobody tells Trump's direct security detail that he's there. He's seen with both a gun and a rangefinder, but nothing happens. the Secret Service, the state police, and the local police are all on different radio frequencies, so they can't talk to each other. We now know that the local police spotted this guy on the roof of the building first, but they couldn't get that information to the Secret Service because, well, they're not on the same radio frequency. The local police offered to conduct a drone surveillance in advance of the entire event, but the Secret Service declined, says, don't worry, we've got it covered. But then we learned that while they do have the technology, they had just purchased it. They don't know how it works. They're on the 800 number with the company that made the drone surveillance, trying to figure out how to get it to work. P.S. They never do a drone surveillance. Then they tell us that they can't get into the encrypted messages on the cell phone of the man they claim shot at Trump and killed Corey Comparatori, the poor firefighter who took one to the head trying to shield his daughter and his wife. That's strange. Apple won't turn over the information from the guy's iCloud because they said it would be a violation of his privacy, yet Apple turned over all the stuff from my iCloud without even getting a subpoena from Robert Mueller. So, yeah, I agree with you. There are more questions than there are answers. And then, reminiscent of the Kennedy assassination, they hosed down the roof of the building where the guy was shot. Could it be any more obvious that they don't want to have any trace of his DNA because perhaps he is not the shooter? And then they cremate him. His family didn't ask for his cremation.
Really?
So he cremated. Exactly.
Yeah, it does make you, I have a saying which will solve all of life's mysteries, which is stupid or liar. Like, are they stupid? Are they that incompetent? Or are they lying? Are they hiding something? Because it seems when professional people get incompetent, it's usually about them lying. For instance, it's always funny when Fauci would claim to be science and an expert in everything, and then at some point you'd ask him about Black Lives Matter marching, and he'd go, I don't know, why are you asking me? Like, well, I don't know, you weigh in on everything COVID, but you have no, when he didn't know about, natural immunity, he didn't know about herd immunity, he didn't know, when the guy who knows everything in general, when people who are know-it-alls say they don't know stuff, it means they're lying. That's usually what I know, and that's
what he did know how to do. She and his wife knew how to do was make millions of dollars off the entire pandemic. See, I don't understand how that can be allowed under federal law. So on the one hand, this guy is pushing, and he tries to mandate a vaccination in which he's got a piece of the action. He's being paid by the manufacturer. He and his wife, who has a job at the FDA. So they're both making literally millions of dollars out of the pandemic. It seems to me that should be illegal, but evidently it's not. In this case, there's just too many coincidences, too many anomalies. And then you look at the attempt on Trump in his golf club in West Palm Beach. The man, Ryan Routh, that they claim is the attempted assassination, came from Ukraine. He's behind in his alimony payments. He's behind in his rent payments. He's indigent, we're told. So who paid him to fly to Kiev, where we can see pictures of? Who paid him to go to London, for where we see pictures of? Who paid for his flight to the United States? He has no trouble flying here, unlike, say, Tulsi Gabbard. She's a 4-term congresswoman. She's a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. She's a combat veteran in both Iraq and Kuwait. But after she kicks the daylights out of Kamala Harris in a presidential debate, the TSA puts her on a secret domestic terrorist watch list. So they're spying on her whenever she flies. So she has more trouble flying than this guy, Ryan Routh. How did he get to the United States? How did he get a gun? The gun he has, we're told, has the serial numbers have been filed off of it. I mean, this guy smells to me like he works for either our intelligence services or the Ukrainian intelligence services. But once again, more questions than there are answers. By the way,
but CNN doesn't have any questions. That's the comedy.
Case closed, yeah. No, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, who I have a lot of problems with for a whole different set of reasons, even he says he's going to have the state police conduct their own investigation, and then they're completely stymied by the feds who won't cooperate in any way, won't make Ralph available for questioning, won't turn over any evidence for inspection. So I'm not sure. It's going to be like the Kennedy assassination, even after today. I don't think we'll ever know the whole story.
What's your take, parting thoughts on Doge and the reaction to it and how it's going and how it should be executed versus how it is being executed, or that could be the same? That could be both good.
I love Elon Musk because in 2017, I had 980,000 people following me on Twitter. And then one day, without any real explanation, I was gone. I was also simultaneously banned on Facebook and Instagram all at the same time. They just take away your voice. They take away your right to free speech. Little did I think when I filled out the little form after being pardoned by President Trump about 2 years after, and applied for reinstatement at what was now X, I never dreamed that I would actually get my voice back. But to his credit, Elon Musk restored my profile, my page on formerly Twitter, now X. When I came back, I only had 25,000 followers. I don't know what happened to the rest of them, but today I built myself up to about 800,000. So I'm very grateful to him. In this particular case, though, I guess my question is, who is in favor of waste, fraud, and corruption? Who could possibly be in favor of that? So Musk and his IT geniuses have uncovered not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars worth of waste, fraud, and corruption. And the Democrats are going out of the mind. He has no right to investigate that. Judge, he has no right to look at that. Of course he does. The President of the United States has the executive authority to designate anyone to act on his behalf. And I think he's doing an amazing job. When he hints about the fact that we're going to see offshore bank accounts owned by certain U.S. politicians, and that some of the proceeds of the money we sent for the war in Ukraine ended up there, I think he's probably right. He's already demonstrated a high degree of credibility to me. Now, there are those, you can see this, who think because Trump has, I've known him 50 plus years, he has very healthy ego. You don't become the top of the heap in Manhattan real estate if you don't. You don't become audaciously the president of the United States if you don't have a healthy ego. So I guess they think they can drive a wedge between he and Musk, but I think they're wrong. Trump, first of all, Musk has been wise to always act deferentially to the president appropriately. Zelensky, we gave this guy $350 billion. He can't even wear a suit and tie when he comes to meet the president of the United States. When he goes to speak to the World Economic Forum, he wears a suit and tie, but he can't wear a suit and tie when he addresses a joint session of Congress or when he goes to meet the president. He looks like a slob. It's slovenly. It's disrespectful, not only the president, but disrespectful, I think, to the taxpayers who sent this guy so much money. So I'm a fan of Doge. I'm a fan of Musk. I think if you bring down federal spending, which can clearly be done because we're wasting trillions, and you renew the tax cuts, which, sorry, Robert Reich, I went to high school with that guy. He was wrong then. He's wrong now. When you cut taxes, federal revenues go up, not down. So as revenues rise and spending comes down, maybe we can actually get to the point where not only do we have a balanced budget, but Trump can actually do what he says he wants to do away with the income tax entirely and shut the IRS down. The country could run on revenues from tariffs, as it did until 1913.
From your mouth to God's ears, because I do pay a lot in taxes. Roger Stone, stonezone.com is where you go for updates, current events, and books and things of that nature. The Roger Stone Show, WABC Radio as well. Or shoot him a At Twitter. Yeah, let's get him up to 1 million. Roger Stone Jr. At Roger Stone Jr.
Roger J. Stone Jr. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roger J. Stone Jr. Would that be it? Sorry.
Yes, there's about 9 Roger Stones over there on X, but there's only one that's real. That's Roger J. Stone Jr.
Well, it was fun talking to you. I hope we can talk again soon.
Thanks for having me, Adam. I really appreciate it.
My appreciation as well. Roger Stone, everybody.